Welcome back to Destination Saratoga All Access, where we explore the people, places, and stories that make Saratoga County a must-visit destination. I'm your host, Mackenzie Zarzicki, and today we're diving into one of Saratoga's most treasured cultural landmarks, Caffè Lena. As the longest-running folk music coffee house in the U.S., Caffè Lena has been a haven for artists, storytellers, and music lovers for over 6 decades. Founded by Lena Spencer, this intimate venue has nurtured countless musicians, from rising talent to legendary performers. But beyond the music, Caffè Lena plays a vital role in our community, fostering creativity, education, and connection. Joining me today is Sarah Craig, Executive Director of Caffè Lena, to discuss its rich history, carefully curated lineup, and deep-rooted impact on the local community. And with National Women's Month upon us, we'll also celebrate Lena Spencer's pioneering spirit and lasting legacy. Whether you're a longtime folk music fan or discovering Caffè Lena for the first time, stay tuned. This is an episode you won't want to miss. But first, here's the latest news and events with Mackenzie and Jesse. Time for the latest news with Mackenzie and Jesse.
Whoop, whoop.
What's up?
Nothing much. What's up with you?
Not much. I realize we say sup a lot, so
We do.
I got to change my intro. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Mackenzie?
I'm great.
We're kind of matchy.
I know. That was my fault. I did ask you what you're wearing and then proceeded to put a gray sweater on, so my apologies.
That's fine. I have good taste.
So I went to Thorn and Roots and I got the Mr. Rogers smoothie that you recommended.
Yeah. Isn't it delicious?
It was absolutely delicious.
Right? I love it.
it's-
Gorgina.
Who?
Gorgina.
Gorgina.
I've been saying that a lot. I don't really
What
know
does Gorgina
why.
mean?
Like gorgeous.
Oh my God, it's another Gen Z thing. I can't even,
I think it's
Gorgina.
yeah, like TikTok kind of verbal stuff. Maybe like RuPaul's Drag Race, Gorgina. Mother.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
We got it all.
I like the song, Taylor Swift song, when Blake Lively's daughter's like, gorgeous.
What one's that? Is that like
Gorgeous?
Is that what it's called? Gorgina?
I don't even know now. Oh, dear Lord. So I have Mr. Rogers on the brain because I
Yeah.
had that delicious smoothie. Do
Oh
you
my
know
God.
who Mr. Rogers is?
I know, but I've never watched the original. I didn't watch the new one with Tom Hanks recently, like a couple years ago. But I know I don't really know.
I don't really know.
I just know
So
he's
he had a show on PBS back in the day. I feel like it was an after school thing. You'd come home and watch it. But I never understood. He came home, took off his coat, put on a sweater, changed his dress shoes into sneakers. Like, who wears sneakers in their house anyway? But it's a cute show. He taught you a lot.
What do you
He sang something, welcome to the neighborhood, won't you be my neighbor, or something like that.
Did he teach like the kids in the neighborhood?
I
who
think,
did he teach?
I honestly don't know what he taught. It was more like life lessons type thing. I don't know.
Okay.
But the smoothie,
Yeah.
again, I'm like, I don't know how it correlates with Mr. Rogers, but it's good. Peanut butter banana. It's like your favorite childhood snack,
Yeah.
but the grown-up version.
I love it. It's so good. Maybe because it's in like coffee is in it.
Yeah.
And does he say like wake up, like hi neighbor? Does he say like wake up? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah,
Well, we'll have to ask.
we'll have to ask them
Yeah.
why they called it the Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, but it's delicioso and I love it.
Yes, thank you for turning me onto it.
Yeah, welcome.
All right, hot off the press, baby.
Ooh.
The Destination Saratoga 2025 Saratoga County Visitor Guides just dropped.
Gorgina.
This is Gorgina.
Yeah.
I have to say, I am quite impressed with us. This came out really nice.
With us.
And Lyft.
And
Lyft
Lyft.
did such a good job. I feel like the book is just totally elevated. Beautiful pictures.
This is us.
That is us. Subscribe, like, follow, subscribe.
Got a little Caffè Lena. Oh, is that?
Yes, today's episode's about Caffè Lena.
Slay.
I love it. Remember when we went rail biking at Rev Rail?
Yeah.
Love it.
That was super fun.
That was super fun.
That was beautiful also.
best time to go in the fall.
Yeah. Got your favorite restaurants in here.
Oh,
Got it
yeah.
all.
Look at Mike Spain. That was from Seneca.
Spain.
That's
Is
the
that
chef.
it?
Yeah. Remember when we did that
my
photo
God.
shoot at Seneca?
Yes.
Came out so nice.
That was
I'm
really
just
good.
so excited about this. So this year we increased from 50,000 to 70,000 copies. We're going to distribute them all over the Northeast, rest stops, AAA stations, etc. The whole point is to get people to Saratoga. So I'm excited, and I would really like to thank all of our advertisers for taking out ads in this piece, because you guys are what helped make this piece possible. And it's just such a beautiful piece. So
It is.
please check it out. We'll distribute them locally as well. I'm just so proud of it. And
Yeah.
just
it's
so
new.
fun.
It's something you really haven't seen in a destination guide, or at least from our perspective. It's new. It's
yeah.
trendy. It's fun.
Yeah, a lot of the guides that you see out and about have like a photo as the cover,
Which is also
and
beautiful.
it is beautiful, and that's what we've done the past like 6 or 7 years. But this year we were going for like the New Yorker kind of look,
Yeah.
something more illustrated.
Yeah.
The icons I feel like are universal. We've used them for our podcast, our inside track. We're going to put them on our social media for some highlight covers. So yeah, I'm super pumped. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's a great piece.
Yeah. What else is happening? Healthy Saratoga Weekend is coming back. Mark your calendars for April 25th to the 27th as we celebrate health and wellness throughout Saratoga County.
Yay.
Spa treatments, outdoor activities, healthy dining,
Smoothies.
smoothies. Make sure you visit discoversaratoga.org for a list of participating locations. Hey, fun fact, Jessie House.
Yeah. What's that?
Did you know that Saratoga County was named one of the healthiest communities in New York State?
I did know that, actually.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. Honestly, it's something that never gets old. We really
Yeah.
strive to be very healthy, and there's so much to do in Saratoga County. So
Everyone's very active. Even the people you meet here are usually pretty active and love that they have access to the Adirondacks, as well as like the Hudson Valley, or just
Yeah.
around here with the state park and everything like that, and cycling. And just,
yeah.
I love it.
Totally. Whenever our friends from downstate, like New York City, Westchester County, come and visit, they're always impressed by how many outdoor activities there are
Yeah.
to do. Obviously, everyone loves going to the track, but when we do like a short hike or, ride bikes around, have lunch in the state park,
Yeah.
it's just something that they don't have and crave in the city.
Yeah.
So we're so fortunate to live here.
Yeah, for sure. I know I love eating in Congress Park for lunch, then walking back to the office in the warmer days.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just also such a privilege of being in a small city, but having
Yeah.
that greenery and that green space that you can take advantage of and kind of take a moment.
Totally. Congress
yourself.
Park, that's
Yeah.
the perfect example. It's walkable from downtown. You have all the shops and the restaurants at your fingertips, and then you walk a couple steps away and you're sitting in the middle of a beautiful park
Yeah. It's so nice.
feeding the ducks.
What a great place we live in.
I know. We're so lucky. So what events do you got on your radar?
Yeah. So speaking of great places and just cool things, Mechanicville, which is part of Saratoga County, has an Anything That Floats event coming up on
Yes.
April 6th. So the Mechanicville Area Community Services Center hosts.
Shout out Megan.
Yes.
We went through Leadership Saratoga
Oh,
together.
really?
Didn't
Very
mean to
cool.
interrupt you. I just had
No,
to give
it's
her
okay.
some love.
Yes, always. You should. So the Anything That Floats event is an opportunity for you to build a vessel that will float for about a quarter of a mile on the Anthony Kill. So that is April 6th, and you can go to their website and learn more about it, get some inspiration previous years. I know there's like rubber duckies. I remember there was like someone made a bed frame and all these different things, like a fire truck, and you just float down the river, and it's like whoever wins, but it's really just like a fun time, a fun activity for everyone.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's such a fun time, especially for the kids. I feel like it's an
Yeah.
event that the whole family can enjoy.
Exactly, for sure.
Yeah. What else is going on? Anything fun?
Yeah, so early April 4th, 5th, and 6th, so you can join Emily Stringham at the Saratoga County History Center at Brookside Museum for the Well-Dressed Gowns of the 1770s. It's a free program. Explore the history and the construction of the gowns. Just like if you're really into fashion, that'd be really cool to check
Yeah.
out. Like such a period piece and how things were made back then versus there's a lot of fast fashion now and
Yeah.
just the industrialization of it all. But that's a really cool
Very
event.
cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
And there's a 3-day workshop where you can create your own. That's really awesome.
Yeah. Horse racing fans, if you didn't hear, I don't know if you must live under a rock, but Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns June 4th to the 8th. This year, it's 1 day longer. General admission tickets are already on sale. There are options for a 1-day ticket to the stakes or a 5-day pass for the entire week. Make sure you get yours now at naira.com/Belmont-stakes. Get your tickets. And speaking of Belmont on Broadway is making a comeback on June 4th.
Oh, yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah, really excited.
Discover Saratoga, along with our partners, is going to hold a press conference on April 10th to announce the headlining band. So make sure you stay tuned for more details because it is going to be an epic week. Seriously, if you haven't already, make sure you book your hotels. Get in now because that is going to be a week you do not want to miss.
Yeah. Last year was insane. The streets from the city center all the way to like
Lake Ave?
Cantina, basically. Yeah. Lake Ave and then some.
Yeah.
Completely packed, but not in an aggressive way.
No.
There was still room to move and you could hear the music from everywhere, basically. So that was just such an amazing event.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And everyone was so polite. No one was rowdy.
Yeah,
it was a very family-friendly thing.
Yeah.
And a Blues Traveler rocked it. They did such a good job. So I can't wait to find out who is headlining this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to this event. And June's going to be here before we know it.
I know.
It's crazy.
I'm so happy for. I love warmer weather.
Yes, me too. Me too.
I'm trying to cherish the time
Totally.
that we have before all the craziness hits.
I agree. I love the summertime. The Belmont Stakes typically takes place at Belmont in Long Island. And because the track is under construction, they are moving for the second year the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival to Saratoga. As a thank you to the local community for embracing the influx of tourists during this week, Discover Saratoga, the Saratoga County Chamber of Commerce, the DBA, Saratoga Springs City Center, among others, our sponsors, have put on a free concert downtown Saratoga. So last year and this year, it's the first Wednesday of the festival. It'll take place right downtown on Broadway by Ellsworth Jones Place, kind of bumped out on Broadway there from the city center all the way down to Lake. It's closed off and people just hang out, celebrate in the street. All of the restaurants and retailers are pretty much open and you get live music from local bands. And then there's usually a really big headliner that we work with, Live Nation and Proctor's, to source. So it's a good time. It's a good time. And this is the second year we've done it. So it's still new to us, but it's definitely a warm, fuzzy event. June 4th to the 8th, and Belmont on Broadway is June 4th.
Woo! Yeah. I can't wait. Last year was so much fun.
So much fun.
Wow.
So, Jesse, I heard you have a fun activity for us to do.
Yes, I do.
What is it?
Oh my God,
Tell
we're going
me.
to fill out our March Madness brackets. Men's and women's.
Oh, God, you got both?
Yes.
So I have not followed along, but now thank you.
Neither have I. It's just
want
a fun thing to do.
To win.
Last year I won.
You did.
And I organized it.
You did. I think she set us up.
No.
You did. All right. So let's fill this sucker out and then let's just reveal our final four.
Yeah.
And then we'll, at the end, another later episode, we'll see who won.
All right. I'm done. I'm ready. I'm done.
Okay. Let's do this. Ready?
All right.
Men's bracket.
Yeah, you go first.
What are we
four.
doing? Final four.
Yeah.
Final four. Okay. I've got Auburn versus Florida
Okay.
and Duke versus Kentucky.
I have Auburn versus Texas Tech and Duke versus Purdue.
Ooh.
Who do you have winning it?
Auburn.
I've got Duke.
Oh.
Ooh.
But I have that as my final two is Auburn versus Duke.
Oh, okay. I have Duke versus Texas Tech. I'm like going against Auburn. I don't know why. I picked Texas Tech is going to win against St. John's.
I got Texas Tech making it to the 1, 2, 3, final 6, right?
Yeah.
8? No, 8, because there's 4 here and 4 here. So the final 8.
And you have...
And then I have Florida beating them.
Yeah. I almost had that too.
I don't know.
And Gonzaga's pretty good. Did you have Gonzaga beating Purdue?
No, I have Purdue winning, but I have Gonzaga beating Houston, and then Purdue beating Gonzaga, and then Kentucky beating Purdue. That might get me.
I had Kentucky. I had Purdue beating Kentucky.
That might get me there. Purdue always has a good team, but I couldn't decide. That was my hardest one on the men's bracket.
This is also, we're going off not much info.
No,
for
it's
either of us.
just
We're just having fun with it.
Historical knowledge.
Yeah.
School mascots and colors. That's what I'm.
And ranks. Don't forget the ranks.
Ranks. Yes, the ranks. That's true. At least for that first one, I pretty much picked the higher seed. Okay, women's brackets. Final four. I have UCLA against Iowa and South Carolina Gamecocks versus Texas. The Christian one.
We have
TCU.
I have everything different. I have LSU versus UConn. Nice. So UConn I have beating Iowa.
Good for you.
And then South Carolina versus Notre Dame.
Good for you.
I went, I was like, hell yeah, Notre Dame, let's go.
See, Iowa's gonna screw me because CC's not even there. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just going off of that. I don't know anything about women's basketball this year. Nada.
Neither do I, which is telling, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all of those really, we still have Paige Buchers, but that's why I chose UConn. My grandma loves her.
No.
So, and like Northeast.
I do like UConn.
I pick like a Northeast team if I can. So
good for you.
UConn all the way, baby. Let's go. So
That's
I've got
great.
UConn for women's and Duke for men's.
I went to Quinnipiac. I should have picked them. Connecticut. I got UCLA taking it home.
Awesome.
We'll see. All right.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
Best of luck.
Best of luck. You owe me $10.
We out. Now to the interview with Sarah Craig at Caffè Lena. Welcome back to Destination Saratoga All Access. I'm your host, Mackenzie Zarzicki, and today I get to sit down with Sarah Craig, the Executive Director of Caffè Lena. Hi.
Thank you, Mackenzie, for coming over to Caffè Lena. It's good to have you guys in the house today.
Of course. I am so excited to be here.
Great.
This is one of the most iconic places in Saratoga Springs.
It certainly is a very long-running venue with a lot of history to it, no doubt about it. Yeah, a lot has happened inside these four walls that his Saratogians and beyond have enjoyed for years and years, 6.5 decades now.
I love that. So Caffè Lena is the longest continuously operating folk music coffee house in the United States.
Yeah, those are a lot of parameters on there, but basically it is one of the longest continuously operating small venues in the country. And in celebration of that history, actually, just a few months ago, we got added to the official New York State Registry of Historic Businesses. And this is one of only 2 small venues in New York State that's on that registry. The other one is one that probably a lot of you folks may have heard of, which is the Village Vanguard, which is a really famous jazz club down in New York City.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really quite an honor. It is. It's quite an honor.
That's so great.
And good timing because it is a special anniversary year for us.
Yes. So what year? What anniversary?
65.
That
opened in
awesome.
May 20th, 1960 is when this place opened. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That is a major milestone. I'm so excited for you guys. So what do you think? What's the secret to keeping this place running strong for 6 decades?
Well, I think it's love of music is the whole purpose of being here. And since 1989, nobody has owned Caffè Lena. It's a nonprofit organization, and that means that everybody walks through the doors is kind of like a little bit of an owner, a little bit of a stakeholder. Everybody has a piece of it. And so it creates this huge web of support around the place where everybody feels like there's room for themselves to contribute something to it or to get something special out of it, to really have a relationship with the place. It's like everybody who walks through the door, and this has been true even when it was just Lena's small business. First and foremost, you are a friend and you are a neighbor, and that whole customer part is doesn't really come into the equation, So I definitely think that that's a part of it. It's just that it has this special culture that's particularly welcoming and homey and all about the music.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that. I'm looking around and I see the little couches and the small table and the intimate stage. It kind of does feel like you're in someone's home, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we are a big believer in small is beautiful.
Yes.
And we are all about that intimate music experience here. It's very, very rare to find that combination of like a really pristine listening environment like you might get in a very special grand concert hall.
Yeah.
But this little teacup of a venue, you know, where it's more like, might feel like you're going into a little smoky club or something like that, or like a bar room or something, but it's not full of noise, it's full of listeners.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. So Lena Spencer, the founder, was a true trailblazer in the folk music world. As we celebrate National Women's Month, how do you think her influence still resonates today?
Oh my gosh. Lena completely created the culture of this place. And one thing that she establishes that sort of cozy family vibe. There's no doubt about that. But another thing that she established is you just never give up. Mm-hmm. You never give up, no matter how hard times get or anything like that. And so because of that kind of spirit that's just, it's impossible to ever quit, has carried this place through some tough times. And now we have what we have, which is an amazingly vibrant, healthy venue that's not stuck in the past in any way, that's really moving forward and has just been growing and growing by leaps and bounds. So Lena, let me talk about her just a little bit, okay? Because she's got a fascinating life story. She grew up in a very traditional Italian family, just a little bit south of Boston, and her mother died when she was young, so she was kind of like the woman in the family, almost like the mom in the family. And she worked really hard for the family. They had a restaurant. Her dad ran a restaurant with his brothers and Lena's brothers, but she had this amazing just feel for art and creativity right from the get-go, and she was very theatrical. And so when she was in her early 20s, she actually ran away from home.
Oh, wow.
And she went to New York City, and she wanted to be an actress. That kind of fell apart, and her uncles came and got her and found her and brought her back home. But from that point on, she really wanted to just be her own person. And so she started being a radio DJ. She started acting more in plays back home. And then she met her husband, who was this really wild beatnik sculptor who had just graduated from art school, and they had a kind of whirlwind romance, and that was her ticket out of the family home, was that she got married very quickly to Bill Spencer. And he was doing some teaching at Skidmore. They moved up here. And the thing that's kind of neat, especially for people who are really interested in Saratoga now, is that, don't forget, at that time, Saratoga was a very different place. It was kind of between phases in its development. And there were a lot of boarded up shop windows, and things were very sleepy and quiet. And, sometimes it's those kinds of towns that attract these kind of startup businesses, where people don't have much money, but they want to do something creative. And so Lena and Bill were a classic example of that. And they moved into the space where we are right now, which at that point was this abandoned, had been not used for a few years, place where they made moldings, wooden moldings.
Oh, wow.
So it was like a woodworking shop. So just kind of like a loft space woodworking shop. Philo Street was so quiet in those days, and a lot of the buildings that you see here now were not there then. And Lena and Bill moved in and brought these tables.
Oh, wow. These are the original tables?
These were used tables that they brought in and fixed them all up and got themselves some chairs and set up a little stage.
Wow,
and
that's so cool.
And just got going. And their plan was that they were going to run this coffee house, a folk music coffee house, which was like all the rage at that time. That was a really popular model. They were going to run it for a couple of years, make a lot of money, and then they were going to move to Europe and just kind of be bohemian artists in Europe.
The dream.
Bill ended up taking up with one of his students at Skidmore, and he left Lena, and she had to make a big decision because at that point she had just been kind of the baker in the kitchen. But the women's movement, the civil rights movement, all of those movements were very much in the air. And with some support, she made the decision that she was going to step out of the kitchen and onto the stage and run this place. And
amazing.
she kept it going very much on her own from 62 then, after Bill left, until 1989 when she passed away. Yeah.
That's an amazing story.
She is a remarkably tenacious person.
Yes.
And she had a big personality.
I love that. Did she ever remarry?
She never remarried. She never got into another relationship that I know of.
So this was her baby. This was her life
This
work.
was her whole. This was her family, her musicians, and the people who helped her around the venue, and her special customers. That was really her family.
Oh, I love
and musicians would come from all over the country and hang out with her here for days, weeks, sometimes months at a time. They would crash with her at her apartment. She would take care of their kids when they were on the road. She cooked for people. She really took care of people, and she got this nickname of being the Mother Teresa of folk music. And even though she really, going back to your very first question about what makes the place succeed, it was never about making money for her. She said, don't do it like you're in it to make money. Do it like you're in it to serve. Just do it with a whole lot of love.
Aw,
And that was the spirit that she brought into it. Does that mean that she was always sugar all the time? No, she wasn't. She was pretty spicy, but she did really, when it came right down to it, everybody remembers her as somebody who really took care of people and did everything she could to help them move their careers along.
I love that. For our last episode, I met with Jasper at Hattie's, your neighbor, actually, right downstairs, right? And he talked a lot about Hattie and how she took care of the community, and she didn't have any children, but everyone was welcome. And if you needed a job, she gave you a job. If you needed food, she fed you. So it really kind of brings this whole hospitality full circle in Saratoga. And it's just so lovely to know that we had these kind of pioneers, especially women, that were founding these icons in Saratoga Springs that are here decades later.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
If you're craving the fluffiest pancakes, the most decadent baked goods, or a perfect cup of coffee to start your day, Sweet Mimi's has you covered. Located on Phyla Street, this charming cafe serves up scratch-made breakfasts and brunch with the warmest hospitality in town. From their famous lemon ricotta pancakes to their seasonal pastries that sell out fast, everything at Sweet Mimi's is made with love and a whole lot of butter. Stop by for a bite to eat or check out their menu at sweetmimiscafe.com. But fair warning, once you go, you'll be hooked. And don't forget to tell them Mackenzie sent you.
There's one really neat story I'll tell you that ties the two businesses together. This would have been around 1963 or so. There was a young woman from Albany, Georgia, named Bernice Regan, who was a civil rights activist in her community down in Georgia. Her mother got kind of concerned that she needed a break and sent her up to work for Hattie for a summer. And so she was working down at Hattie's, and she was just kind of singing to herself while she was working, and one of the customers overheard her singing and said, "Oh, you need to come sing for Lena." So she brought her up here, and Bernice tried out. Lena was impressed, gave her her own show, and that was her first time that she was ever paid to perform on stage. Bernice Johnson Regan became really a legend of music. She helped to form the Freedom Singers, which became, they called them the voice of the civil rights movement, and they led many marches, sang with MLK at like the I Have a Dream speech. They were part of the stage for that event, the March on Washington, and some of those really major events. She went on later to found a vocal ensemble called Sweet Honey and the Rock, which became really a voice of liberation for years and years. So that's a good women's story and Hattie and Lena story.
And civil rights movement. That's amazing. So Bernice
Johnson Regan.
She got her start in Saratoga Springs.
She got her start right on that stage.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So talking about artists who got their start here, can you share a few of your favorite stories about the various musicians who have played at Saratoga and maybe some more notable ones?
Sure. Well, like I said, back in the early days of the venue, this kind of music was really all the rage in this kind of venue. So this was a rare kind of outpost outside of the major cities.
Yeah.
So a lot of artists who were going from New York up to Montreal or points west would be able to come through Saratoga. So the club had a good reputation right from the start, very well run, and great audiences and a fun place to be. So Lena was able to get some really remarkable shows happening here. So obviously people who are very big in the Greenwich Village folk scene and the Boston folk scene were playing here, and that, probably most notably included Bob Dylan, who played a weekend in 1961, and then came back and played another weekend in 1962, and kept in touch with Lena for years, even though, he never came back to play again, and will not come back to play again, I don't think. So.
But there is a picture of him, right, in the green room?
Sure. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Sitting. It's a beautiful photo of him sitting with Lena and with his girlfriend at the time, Suze Rodolo, who is, what did they call her? Sophie, I think, in the new Dylan movie.
Oh, okay.
That's who that character is. So yeah, it's a great period
And a
piece.
cat? Was there a cat in the picture?
Oh yeah.
Was that Lena's cat?
That's Lena's cat, her Siamese cat, Pasha, who lived here. There were actually a series of Pashas who lived here all the time that Lena had. And then at the end, there were Sashas.
Oh, I love that.
Pashas and Sashas. So yeah, Dylan and Emmylou Harris played here as a young woman, probably slightly less known, but Tom Paxton. A little later on would be like Arlo Guthrie, Nancy Griffith, people like that. And then you come farther along and you would get people like, Don McLean for sure.
Oh, yeah.
American Pie, all that kind of stuff. And
is that written in Saratoga?
There's
a rumor, right?
There's a rumor about that. Don remembers it differently, and his friends who were with him that night remember it differently than Don does. So there's always a hearty, I hope, friendly debate about that. But he certainly did play the song here before it was ever recorded. I don't know if it was the very first place that I ever played it.
I heard it started on a napkin at Tin and Lint.
Yeah, that is the story.
So much history.
Yeah, Ani DeFranco played some of her early shows here. And then very recently, maybe some of you guys have heard of Billy Strings, and he played some of his early shows here at Lena's. And, it keeps flowing. And it's not like we book people because we're like, we hope that it's going to be the next Dylan or, the next Billy Strings or something. We book people who are going to make magic in this room on that night.
That.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're all about that, where people are at in their career right now, not so much like, placing bets on if they're going to be super famous someday. So you can always count on the show being something really special when you come down here.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, do people ever do like recordings or acoustic albums here?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Sometimes people will make a recording during their concert and release a live at Caffè Lena album. That definitely happens. But the other, just speaking of recordings, the other thing that we have going on here is that we actually live stream all of our concerts, and not just like one camera sort of looking at the stage and taking a feed off the board, but a really high quality live stream we have surrounding us up here on the ceiling. We have 5 dynamic cameras that are operated from a room that's back behind that door. And we have separate sound mixing for it done by our 7-time Grammy winning sound engineer, Joel Moss, who's back there getting ready for the show right now.
I think we met him.
So it's super, super high quality live stream broadcast. And those recordings are out there on the internet. You can see the first 2 songs of any show just on our YouTube channel. And then the rest of the show we put behind an extremely affordable paywall. We have Caffè Lena TV. And so, if you come and you visit Saratoga and you really fall in love with the town, you can always head home and keep in touch with us by watching our live stream shows.
I love that. Now, did this initiative start because of COVID?
It actually did not start because of COVID. We started live streaming back in 2012
wow.
when it was just almost unheard of. It was like this brand new idea that some people had. So we started live streaming back then. And then when we did a big renovation on this space in 2016, we decided to really upgrade the live streaming and put more money into it, partly because our friend and supporter Arlo Guthrie said, you know, it's a really wonderful thing that you're a small room and everything that happens there is really special and important, but almost nobody knows about it because it's so tiny. You should set up some cameras so the rest of the world can know about it. And we said, well, I think we're going to try and do that. So
What an idea.
So when the pandemic hit, a lot of venues were really scrambling to try and figure out how to do that live streaming. But we actually, on the very first day of the lockdown, had a children's show scheduled. And typically our live stream didn't get a lot of viewers, you know, maybe a dozen people would tune in or something like that. We had this children's show scheduled and public schools had already been closed for about a week, but then the governor decided that all of the everything needed to shut down. Yeah, we had New York pause. And so, you know, we had to pause all of our shows, which is just, I mean, it was mind-boggling for everybody, no matter what industry you were in. So what we decided to do was just put the band on stage and not have any audience in the house, and we would just run a live stream of it. And we thought, well, that's kind of a silly idea, but let's try it. And we had, I think it was 144 households tune in.
That's great.
And people were making comments as they were watching, just saying, oh my gosh, my kids have been cooped up for a whole week. Oh boy, that was just the start of it.
Little did they know.
And they're dancing around the living room. So we decided that we would just keep live streaming, and we put out something every night during the entire pandemic. Wow. And it was either a live band on stage or it was an archived recording, and that we could do as a live watch party. Mostly it was live bands on stage. People tipped through a virtual tip jar and raised more than $100,000 for local and regional musicians through Caffè Lena's live streaming. It was really stunning, and it meant so much to people to have a place to feel social and feel like they were gathering with their community. Yeah.
And keep these folks employed, because with everything shut down, they had nowhere to sing and, you know, provide music for crowds. So that's that's a wonderful thing that you guys did.
It meant so much to the musicians to be able to have an outlet and an opportunity to play. It was an incredibly emotionally time. And Stewart's took, we sent them like outtakes from our live streams, and they put them up on their Stewart's TVs in the shops and played them through the gas pumps and stuff. And so our musicians were like, I just heard myself as Stewart's.
I love that.
They were so excited.
So funny.
It was a wonderful thing that they did. Yeah, it was like, you know, 1,300 times a day or something throughout Saratoga County were snippets of Caffè Lena shows playing.
That's great. We needed that. This really, it feels like home. It gives you a sense of normalcy. You get the music, you get the community. It's such a wonderful thing that you guys did. Yeah,
this whole town really came together in a great way. I mean, the whole country did in a lot of ways, but Saratoga really stepped up, I think, during that time.
I think so too. I mean, obviously I'm partial. I'm from Saratoga. I work for Discover Saratoga, but there was so much going on between the recovery kits and the sanitizer and all the things. I felt like we were all banding together. Yeah. A lot of the restaurants did to go, and it was just so nice to see everyone locally trying to keep each other content, happy, in business, and just keep your sanity for as much as you could.
That's the whole thing about Saratoga, is that it is so like social and community oriented, you know, and so people really come out for each other. And again, like that's one of the, you asked, why did this place survive? It's because it's in Saratoga. You know, that's definitely part of the story of it. It's just a town that steps up for the things it loves.
I love that. And that's a perfect segue. So beyond the music, what does Caffè Lena do, or how do you get involved with the local community?
Yeah. Well, what we do has changed a lot over the last few years. We've always been a great place to see concerts, but it really goes beyond that now. So in 2020, we started the Caffè Lena School of Music, due to start on March 10th, 2020. So it collided with the start of the pandemic, and it was going to be just an after-school program for children. But because we were in the middle of the pandemic, we started it online. The parents wanted to get involved. We added adult classes. We just had all these Zoom classes going, and it took off beyond our wildest imagination. We were able to come back in person in 2021. So now, these days, we have basically 2 tracks, one for kids and one for retirees, but anybody can participate. And we have everything from after-school group folk music lessons. It's all about music and community, okay? So it's not like individual private lessons so much as learning to play as ensembles. So we've got that after-school for kids. We've got bluegrass jams for adults. We've got beginning guitar classes. We've got ukulele, Caffè Lena ukulele ensemble. It's like
Love that.
all kinds of stuff. Irish music classes, blues, everything. So yeah, we have a lot of fun through the Caffè Lena School of Music, and it's a great way for children and adults to make friends, get your skills going, get your hands working. Don't let that guitar gather dust in the back of your closet. People really seem to love coming out and making music together. It's really part of what we are, is just an animal, you know. We like to sing and play together. So we've got that.
Cool.
And then we have another initiative that started back in 2018, which is called Caffè Lena on the Road. We bring more than 1,000 musicians to town every year. And those musicians put on a show here, and then they leave town, they go to the next gig, they go to the next gig. Weekends tend to be very busy for musicians, but they don't have a lot to do midweek. But at the same time, we have all these people in the community who never really get to see live music. People at the soup kitchen, people in shelters, people in recovery, people in senior centers. So we said, let's keep the musicians in town for a little bit and send them out to play in those settings, so that everybody can enjoy the live music. So we just did one today. One of our musicians, maybe that we hear coming up the stairs right now. So we decided to take advantage of the fact that musicians had all this downtime during the week and send them out into the community to play in those kind of settings. And so now we serve probably about between 2,000 and 3,000 people a year across Saratoga, Warren, and Washington County. And we do several residencies every month, and it's just a really beautiful program. We love doing that work.
That's so great.
Yeah.
I love that you're getting out into the community and really bringing the music to them.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
So for first-time visitors to Caffè Lena, what kind of experience can they expect when they walk in here?
Oh, well, they're going to get a very warm welcome in the lobby. They're going to be sharing their table with other people. You are going to be waited on at your table by volunteers wearing volunteer aprons. And when the lights go down, everybody's going to be really quiet, and everybody's going to just soak up the music together. And after the show, you will be able to go into the lobby and thank that performer personally for the show that they just put on. Talk to them, ask them a question, ask them what that song was about. You could talk to them one-on-one. And
That's so unique, right?
And these are people, to be clear, that are touring nationally and internationally. These are very high-level musicians who, you know, one night they might be playing a major concert hall, and the next night they might be doing a venue at a place where some of their heroes got their start. So yeah, it really is extraordinary. We punch above our weight when it comes to our roster of offerings.
That's amazing. I've never heard of that before, where you can actually speak to the artist and ask them questions. It's always, you know, they get in, they get out, and they have to go back on the road somewhere. But here, everything is very intimate, from the moment you walk in the door to the table you're sitting at to the music, the stage. I mean, we're 2 arms lengths away from the stage right now. It's very cool, very intimate, very beautiful.
One of the people who was just in the background here, who's setting down his drums over there, is Jerry Murata, who was Peter Gabriel's drummer.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Lots of talent in this building.
Yep.
Yeah, chills kind of thinking about it. If you haven't been to Rhea yet, you're missing out on bold flavors, handmade noodles, and dishes that blend Asian street food with a creative twist. I personally had the hangover noodles, and they were absolutely delicious. Fun fact, almost everything on the menu is either gluten-free or can be made gluten-free. So if you have a gluten allergy like me, it's definitely a safe place to go. So whether you're diving into their famous ramen, sharing crispy dumplings, or sipping on a craft cocktail, every bite feels like an adventure. Located right on Broadway, Rhea is the perfect spot for a cozy date night, a casual dinner with friends, or just treating yourself to something delicious. Book your table now at Resy.com and make sure you tell them Mackenzie sent you. So what was your first experience at Caffè Lena like, and how did you get involved with the organization?
Well, I had fallen in love with the folk revival era about a year before I ever heard of Caffè Lena. I was living down in the Boston area and listening to the music that would have been popular in this venue back when it first started, which is just a quirky kind of thing. It's not like anybody else was doing it, but I happened to stumble into it and just loved it. And so when I moved up here, I was looking for a job in the nonprofit world because I was coming from being the executive director of another organization down in Boston, a peace organization, and found this position. It was, Caffè Lena was looking for a full or part-time executive director. The place was just really it was not very long after Lena had passed away, and it was still hadn't quite gotten its feet on the ground. It was a fairly new nonprofit. It was looking to expand its membership program and do some grant writing and things like that. So I was brought in to do that kind of work. And when I walked in, I think I had the same reaction that so many people have, which is this place is legendary and it's so tiny.
Yeah.
It's so simple and tiny, and so I think that, and I came up during the day to do my interview, and we just had the greatest conversation because there is this overlap between, kind of the peace movement world that I was coming from and the folk music. There's a lot of overlap there. So we had a lot to talk about. But I saw that this could be a really interesting kind of toolkit to work with, if you will.
I feel like you were destined for this position.
I did not ever go looking to do this kind of work. And I think that it took me a little bit to realize that not only, I think at first I sort of thought that, the arts were something that you do after you finish saving the world. And at some point, I decided that the arts are the way that you save the world. Oh. And so it really has turned out to be a good fit for me. And this is actually my 30th anniversary year.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I started working here 30 years ago last month.
Wow.
Yep.
2 big milestones this year.
There you go.
That's amazing. Well, I'm so glad you're able to talk to me about it today. This has just been so fun. You mentioned the School of Music.
Yep.
You have an event coming up.
We do.
The pancake breakfast.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
How down home and folky is that?
This is the perfect space to eat some fluffy pancakes and have a cup of coffee.
All you can eat pancakes with all the trimmings and all the sides. Fresh maple syrup from this year's harvest from Twin Leaf Farms out in Greenfield. And we'll have all different kinds of bands from our School of Music playing. So the kids, the adults, you'll hear all kinds of traditional music and fun stuff.
Yeah.
And children and adults playing together up on that stage. And we'll just have a really good time. And it does raise money for the School of Music. We want that school to be, accessible to any child who wants to participate. So the funds that we raise at the Pancake Breakfast every year go toward the scholarship program, so we can waive the tuition for any kids who would not be able to participate otherwise, and to maintain a whole stock of instruments here. So, children, they come in, they're like, I want to play guitar. And then they're like, what's that? That's a banjo. I want to play banjo.
Yeah.
And, you can't expect families to buy them a banjo, a fiddle, a guitar, a mandolin. So we have all these instruments here.
That's
and
great.
They can trade around and swap until they find something that really feels like a fit. Or all of them.
My daughter just got a ukulele for Christmas.
Yeah, great.
So we're just starting. I want to sign her up for lessons, get her little fingers moving. But
that would be wonderful.
So fun. We'll have to come to the pancake breakfast.
Yeah. So our pancake breakfast, which I think is our 4th annual pancake breakfast, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be on Saturday, March 29th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Again, all you can eat pancakes and all you can listen to folk music.
And if someone wants to buy tickets, where would they go?
CaffeLena.org.
All right.
Yep, tickets are right there.
That's awesome. Do you have a limit for how many tickets you can sell?
Well, we can fit 110 people into this room, but with the pancake table, we should probably knock it down to about 100.
Okay.
That's going to be a big table of pancakes.
So make sure you get your tickets. That's going to be an awesome event, and I'm going to have to go buy my tickets now. I understand there used to be a theater here as well.
Well, that's true because Lena was an actress herself, and theater was her number one love, actually. Even loved it more than folk music. And we had on the other side of that brick wall right there was a black box theater. We had to lose that during the renovation, but it has its own, cast of greats that have come through there. One of whom, I don't know if you've heard of John Bernthal.
Walking Dead.
Yep, Walking Dead. Yep, Punisher. So he was a student at Skidmore.
Oh, cool.
And there was an amazing avant-garde theater company that developed down here called Fovea Floods. And he was one of the members of Fovea Floods. He did a lot of acting in that. But he also made his singing debut down here when his friend Josh Chambers' band was playing on this stage. And John stood on one of the tables right here and made his singing debut at Caffè Lena. That's kind of fun, too.
What a story. Was he a good singer?
Yeah, great singer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I loved it. And just, he'd been kind of on a track to play baseball, I think, he was a fabulous baseball player, but then ended up, kind of discovering his artistic side and singing and acting and doing all of that. And it happened on the other side of that brick wall.
That's amazing. Yep. Some people have all the talents,
I know.
That is so cool. So we talked a lot about the emergent artists and the legendary performers. We talked about how storytelling contributes to your venue's identity. You're involved in the community. You have a pancake breakfast coming up on March 29th. Is there anything else you want to share that our locals and visitors would want to know about Caffè Lena?
I would say the last thing I would add in is that there are many, many opportunities for you to participate here. So if you like to work with other people and be part of making the show happen and be part of the hospitality team, you can come down and volunteer. If you play an instrument, you play a guitar, you're a songwriter, you're a poet, you're a storyteller, we have open mics for you. And just check out the schedule. Every Monday, there's a fabulous open mic. People sit in the seats, they listen to you. It's not just an excuse to sell beer. It's like a real talent show. And everybody's welcome no matter what your level you're at or what your style is.
That's amazing. And if you wanted to find out more information, where would you go?
You would go to caffélena.org, and cafe is spelled with a double F, which is the Italian spelling because our founder was Italian.
I love that. And I'm assuming you're on Facebook and Instagram?
Oh, sure. And TikTok.
And YouTube?
Big YouTube channel.
Yes. Yeah. The Caffè Lena TV.
Yeah. Yep.
Check it out. So if you want to preview some of the shows, maybe before you come in, check out the YouTube. You'll get a little taste about what Caffè Lena is all about.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mackenzie.
Thank you. This has been so eye-opening. There's so much history in this building. I literally have chills. I have to come here more often. I think I've been to one show, and it's definitely pancake breakfast is on my list. I will take this with me.
There you go.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thanks for including Caffè Lena in this series. It's a great series.
Of course. Thank you so much. This is awesome. As a coffee lover, I usually go straight up caffeine, but the Mr. Rogers smoothie at Thorn & Roots might be my new addiction. A blend of banana, peanut butter, cinnamon, oats, dates, and almond milk. It's smooth and satisfying and has just the right amount of sweetness. Think childhood PB and banana snack meets grown-up wellness fuel. Whether you need a midday pick-me-up or a solid start to your day, this one is worth a try. Visit Thorn & Roots today and make sure you tell them Mackenzie sent you. Thanks for listening to the Destination Saratoga podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to stay up to date on all things Saratoga. Have a topic or guest in mind? Send us an email at podcast@discoversaratoga.org or send us a DM on Instagram at DiscoverSaratogaNY. Until next time, keep exploring, and we hope to see you in Saratoga. This podcast is brought to you by Discover Saratoga, the official tourism promotion agency of Saratoga County. The podcast is produced by Brightsided Podcasting, video provided by Iron Glass Productions, and special thank you to Lift Marketing.